Hi, and welcome to 60 for 30, a Magic the Gathering ultra budget project that looks to get you a playable 60 card Magic deck for around or under $30. Today we're making our triumphant return to Standard with a deck that I've had my eye on since spoilers started happening. Drumroll please. Best of Scarabs, which, yeah, that's really the best pun I got, guys. The deck is based around creating a lot of 1/1 creature tokens through putting -1/-1 counters on creatures. The two core components that we have for making this happen are Hapatra, the Vizier of Poisons, which is a 2/2 creature that anytime it deals combat damage to a player, you put a -1/-1 counter on a target creature. You will almost always target your opponent's creatures with this ability to make them smaller. And when you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, you get a 1/1 green snake creature token, importantly with Death Touch, which means if we get several of these tokens, it's going to be absolutely impossible for our opponents to have good combat trades with us. The real star of the deck is called Nest of Scarabs, which is a 3-drop enchantment, and whenever we put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, we get that many 1/1 black insect creature tokens. This is an important distinction. Nest of Scarabs gives us as many creature tokens as we use -1/-1 counters, whereas Hapatra gives us one creature token for each instance of a -1/-1 counter being placed. So, how do we trigger these abilities? We use these ridiculously costed creatures. Look at it. Exemplar of Strength. For just 2 mana, you're getting a 4/4 creature. Plague Belcher. For 3 mana, you're getting a 5/4 creature with Menace. And Crocodile of the Crossing. For 4 mana, you're getting a 5/4 creature with Haste. Those mana costs are absolutely ridiculous. However, anytime we have a creature with a ridiculous mana cost, chances are it comes with a drawback. The drawback for each of these creatures is that when they enter the battlefield, we put a number of -1/-1 counters on a creature we control. So, if we don't have any other creatures on the battlefield, they always target themselves, meaning that Exemplar of Strength is going to come in with 3 of those counters on it, so it's really going to be a 1-drop, a 1/1 creature in a lot of instances for 2 mana, which isn't that great. However, all of these very, very, very effectively costed creatures, at worst, are going to come in and hopefully trigger our Nest of Scarabs and be small creatures themselves. Like if we play an Exemplar of Strength with a Hapatra and a Nest of Scarabs out, yes, we're only getting a 1/1 creature for 2 mana, but we're also going to get 3 Scarab tokens and a snake with Death Touch. That's 5 creatures for 2 mana. However, the best case scenario comes from these cards. Cards like Festering Mummy, Soulstinger, and Tree of Perdition let us put the -1/-1 counters from our very cost-effective creatures on creatures that we want to put the counters on. Say we play an Exemplar of Strength, we can put all 3 -1/-1 counters on one Festering Mummy. We still get our creature tokens from our creature token creators, and then Festering Mummy will die, and we get to put a -1/-1 counter on a target creature. We can choose the opponent's creature, make it smaller, and get another snake from Hapatra, and another insect from Nest of Scarabs, which is absolutely insane. Soulstinger is a little higher in the curve, but gives us a surprising amount of interaction and board control. When we play Soulstinger, we're usually going to put its counters on itself, because not only will it trigger our token producers, but we want Soulstinger to die, because when Soulstinger dies, we get to put 1/1 counters from it onto an opponent's creature. So if we can get 5 or 6 counters on Soulstinger when it dies, we're likely going to kill an opponent's creature and get triggers from those -1/-1 counters going on our opponent's creature to make scarabs and snakes. Tree of Perdition is an interesting wrinkle in this deck. My all-time favorite Magic play of all time may have been when I was playing this deck. I had a Tree of Perdition out. I played 2 Exemplars of Strength. put 6 -1/-1 counters on my Tree of Perdition, tapped it to put our opponent at 7 life, got a whole bunch of tokens from our Nest of Scarabs, and then swung for lethal damage like that. And the opponent had no idea what was going on, and it was amazing. So Tree of Perdition is pure fun. It's a great target for our -1/-1 counters, and a great blocker if need be. We're also going to run some interaction, because every deck you want to have some interaction in it. Ruinous Path is here as a cheaper alternative to the similar kill spell in Amonkhet. The Awaken effect on it is almost never going to be relevant. We really have this in here to get rid of troublesome planeswalkers or a creature if we really need to. I'll talk more about alternatives to Ruinous Path in a second, because it's not the best card for the deck at times. Supernatural Stamina, I started this as a 2 of, but moved it to a 4 of because of how effective it was. For just 1 black mana, we can essentially use it to either pump a creature up, counter a kill spell that our opponent has, or we can even use it to trade with one of our creatures. Supernatural Stamina returns it to the battlefield, so all of our creatures that create -1/-1 counters will trigger again and get us even more tokens. So this card does a lot. We're also going to run 2 Blossoming Defense because it's just an amazing card in any deck that runs green and creatures. It can fizzle a removal spell of any type. It doesn't just have to be one that will kill our creature, and it can be used as a combat trick to gain advantages. The lands are not as basic as some of these decks are. Yes, we have our Foul Orchards, Forests, and Swamps to give us our basic mana that we need, but we're also going to run Westvale Abbey, which, if you didn't know, in a deck where we can create like 9 creature tokens in one turn, it's amazing because it transforms into a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste creature, which can end a game in a hurry. So what this deck looks like, say, turn 1 Festering Mummy, turn 2 we land our Hapatra, turn 3 we get our Nest of Scarabs down. Nest of Scarabs is the most important card in the deck. Anytime you can use it, you should use it. Turn 4, by playing 2 Exemplars of Strength and targeting our Festering Mummy with the first one's -1/-1 counters, we get a Snake token and 3 Insect tokens. Then we target an Insect token with the second Exemplar of Strength counters, which kills an Insect token, but we get 3 more, another Snake, and the counter from killing Festering Mummy can go on an opponent's creature, getting us another Nest of Scarabs token and another Snake from Hapatra, which, if you're keeping track, nets us 2 4/4 creatures, 3 1/1 Death Touch creatures, a 2/2 creature, and 6 1/1 creature tokens. This is setting us up in a turn or two to flip our Westvale Abbey, to outvalue our opponent through creature tokens, through our Exemplars of Strength, through pretty much anything. We're way ahead at this point. So some sideboard cards. I actually don't normally do sideboards because we're looking to get 60 cards, like a main deck, and you can do what you want with the sideboard, but I just wanted to point to some obvious ones. Dissenter's Deliverance is very cheap and very easy to sideboard in against any of the premier decks in the format that use artifacts, which, spoiler alert, is most of them. It's amazing because not only does it just destroy any artifact, but if we don't need it, we can cycle it and get a different card in our hand. Bone Splinters is another option over Ruinous Path, because we're very frequently going to have a small creature, be it a Festering Mummy or an Insect token, that we don't care about and can use to kill an opponent's creature for 1 mana. And Splendid Agony obviously has a lot of synergy with our token producers, although it's not that great because we can't unconditionally kill a creature. Where it really excels is against like Mardu vehicles, where they're running a Glorybound Initiate and a Toolcraft Exemplar, and they both have 1 toughness, so we can 2-for-1 them and get our creature tokens. This card's really good against decks that are going to have lots of small creatures, so we can potentially 2-for-1. Some other things that I've seen other people run an Archfiend of Ifnir Noose Constrictor combo, because you can discard as many cards as you want with Noose Constrictor, and whenever you do that with an Archfiend out, you can essentially board wipe your opponent's creatures, or if they're huge, at least make all of them much smaller, which is absolutely insane. So look for that interaction. You can put it in your deck if you would like. I went for more synergy with mine between our very efficient creatures, but feel free to put that in your list. And then the other card that I wanted to talk about is what's probably going to be remembered as the best card from Amonkhet, Ronus the Indomitable. This card is absolutely insane. And because it's insane in our deck. And because it's insane, it's also, at the moment, about $15 a card. If you have one of these, put it in this freaking deck. Just put it in somewhere. For 3 mana, you're getting a Death Touch indestructible 5/5 creature that can buff your other creatures, giving them trample and +2/+0. The downside is you can't attack with him unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater, but you can buff your creatures to make them have power 4 or greater with his ability, with Blossoming Defense, with Supernatural Stamina, or, if everything's going well, Exemplar of Strength, Plague Belcher, and Crocodile of the Crossing all have more than 4 power almost all the time in this deck, because we're going to be putting the counters on other creatures. So if you have this card, if you want to upgrade this deck by paying a lot of money down the road, buy this card. So some deck notes before we end real quick. This deck has an Amonkhet core, meaning that when Battle for Zendikar and Shadows over Innistrad rotate, we won't lose that much. Its current iteration is good until the fall of 2017, but you're not losing that much. You're losing the Westvale Abbeys, the Ruinous Paths, and the Tree of Perdition. The core will be good for much longer than that, and you can probably adapt with other cards. The other things about this deck is that it just feels good to play because of the insane value that you get. It's really cathartic. And if you get a hand with Nest of Scarabs and you can keep it, you should keep it, because that is the most important card in the deck. If the effect stacks, so if you have multiple Nest of Scarabs out, you get twice as many tokens, which is absolutely insane. The price point for this currently is right around $34.50 on TCG Player, which is a little higher than I like to aim, because some of the cards have gotten more expensive, and they may unfortunately continue to do so. Or it might get cheaper because it's a new set and prices generally settle down, but I think cards like Plague Belcher are being a little undervalued right now because people don't realize how good it is, so that card might go up a lot in price. We'll see. For similar reason, it's a little higher online than I like. If you're looking for a cheaper version of this build, you can do without the Tree of Perditions and the Ruinous Path, and make do with another Soulstinger and some Bone Splinters instead. That'll save you several dollars. And that's it, guys. I'm sorry there was a slight delay this week with this video. I'm in grad school. I've been working on final papers. I finally took a break to get this done. So pray for me, because I'm, up to my ears. But I couldn't leave you guys a week without a video. So there you go. That is Nest of Scarabs. I really, really like this deck. I've seen a lot of people playing things similar to it online, so I don't think that it's some weird jank brew. I think it's something you can do okay with. I think it's something you can have a lot of fun with, because after all, guys and gals, isn't that the point? Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. I'll get back to you. I think I've answered every comment I've gotten this far on Reddit or on YouTube. So send me a message, comment, do whatever. Tell your friends this channel's great. Tell your friends this channel's awful. Do whatever. I'm not trying to tell you how to do you. Have fun out there, guys and gals. That's what it's all about.